Oh, nice.
That's Lily. Hang on one second. Let me get that real quick. That's Lily. And this one's the puppy. I'm going to change the angle of this because that lighting is messed up, but that's Lucy.
Oh, I like Lucy. I like the black one more. I don't know. I like both of them. I love both of them, but black is my favorite. Excellent.
I'm ready whenever you are.
Okay, so we've been ready since you got the dogs on the show. We've been recording. So John, thank you very much for being on the Ask Kabhi Arya show. What we do around the world is that I travel around the world, meet interesting friends like yourselves and get your perspective to all the others that, sort of come across my channel as I travel back and forth between two continents. I actually feel this is what, when Hollywood was built and Sylvester Stallone, Al Pacino, Arnold Schwarzenegger was introduced to Asia. They were the first internet superstars. And I feel happy and proud to be the conduit to be introducing now the internet moguls like yourselves to this part of the world. That people, the millions of, aspiring youngsters all over the world, this part of the world, they get the right information. There's a lot of misinformation, if I can put it that way. A lot of people are like Gary Vee says, putting cash on the bed and taking pictures and saying, this is what the life is.
Yeah.
Everything but, So that's what we want to talk to you about. The first thing that comes to mind when we speak to you and we look at you is somebody who really takes care of himself. So let's tell us about your rituals.
My credentials?
Your rituals.
Is that what you said?
Rituals. Like everybody has.
My rituals. I'm trying to get the right angle here. There we go. That's probably better. My rituals are that I've been exercising regularly since I was 12 years old.
Okay.
I'm currently 48.
Wow.
In that time, no joke, I've probably skipped the longest span of not exercising is about 10 days ever from age 12 to 48. But on average, I do 5 to 6 days a week, 1 hour a day, sometimes a little bit more. And it's a wide variety of martial arts, yoga, strength training. And I do, as you get older too, it's very important that you do preventative health maintenance as well. And it's probably more common in your culture than it is in America. Unfortunately, you have it correct, and we often miss that. But a lot of times people just want to go. But I think for every hard day, you need to have one day where you rest, recover, recuperate, repair. And it doesn't always have to be a 1-to-1 ratio. But if you do a hard day, you should have an easy day. If you do a stressful day, you should have a recuperative day. If you do something explosive and powerful, you should then do something passive and restorative.
Right.
I just think to have some sort of balance and harmony like that gives your mind a break, it gives your body a break, and it allows you to physically and emotionally recovered. And so you can keep going, because most guys that are my age that train the way I do in the different martial arts, their bodies are broken. Their bodies are broken. And I've had my bumps and bruises, but I actually do pretty well considering how much I do and for how many years I've been doing it.
Wow. So that's nice to know. So you have a ritual, and I'm so impressed because the other day I was watching Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, and he said he doesn't remember the last time he tasted something sweet. So after that, what you just said is the second most inspiring statement ever. Yet, in the last so many years, you missed the gym only like 10 days. That's unbelievable. So that comes from
in a row, the most in a row,
That comes from a disciplined upbringing, or it comes with how did that happen?
Well, my dad was an entrepreneur. He was also a boxer and a bodybuilder.
Okay.
And so, go figure, I do what I do today, right? And I remember when I was probably 14, about 2 years after I started going to the gym, and he says, looks like you've been slacking a little bit. And he was honest, but he was kind.
Sure.
And that was the only time I've ever had to have anyone say anything to me about getting going again. He goes, yeah, you should probably get back there. It's time. And that was like, those are the 10 days I took off. Wow. And that was it.
Right. There's always somebody that comes across our lives to push us and nudge us to go to that next level. But then there was no stopping you after that.
Right. Well, I've been, it's interesting because in my early to mid 20s, even up to the late 20s, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to this, people have passed that stage and age, is that you go through a period of time which is challenging. You think you have the answers. You really don't, but you think you do. And you avoid outside influence, mentorship, coaching, because you know best. The truth is that you don't know anything. You're living a stifled life.
Right.
You don't understand. You don't know what you don't know, and you don't even know what questions to ask because you know so little.
Uh-huh.
And that is a very bad place to be.
Right.
And although I made some progress during that time, what I see now with a lot of kids, I call them kids, they're 20 years younger than me, 25 to 28, something like that. And I see what they have access to and the opportunities. And I'm hoping, I'm speaking to a lot of people that are in their 20s watching this now.
For sure. Take
advantage of the incredible opportunity to learn from the people who have gone before you and made mistakes.
Right.
Because when I started, it was watching old Tony Robbins stuff on VHS tapes and cassette tapes, listening to cassette tapes. And there was actually a store, this is in California, not too far south from Hollywood. And it was a store that you would go into, and it was all the books on tape. And it had like Dale Carnegie, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, all the legends, right? All the leaders in the personal development, personal growth, business space, Les Brown, things like that. And you would rent it almost like a library card. And you would go in and you show them the card and you pay the fee, or you do it, you check it out. And you would take this big box of cassette tapes and things like that home, and booklets that you flip through, and then you'd have to return it. And that store eventually went out of business, just like many of the bookstores have. Yeah. But that's the way we used to have to go learn. I mean, when I started my business, as an example, in 1992 is when I really started my business. The internet was just moving past its conceptual phase. This is two interesting things, just to put some things in perspective for the young people watching this, is that when I started my business in 92, people were arguing whether it was the internet or the World Wide Web and how to differentiate between the two, like it really mattered. But that was really the topic of conversation. And when I started as an entrepreneur, as a fitness professional, I trained a lot of very wealthy and smart people, because they're the ones who wanted their discipline, but also they had the money to pay for my services. I got mentored by my clients who were brilliant people who paid me to get them in physical shape. They didn't even know that they were mentoring me along the way. Uh-huh. But I trained two computer scientists, a husband and a wife. And this is so early on in the stage of the internet. They said, here's one thing that you must know. It's very, very important about the internet. And I said, tell me, I need to know. And they said, never use all uppercase when you're in a chat room, because that means you're shouting. That was I'm not kidding you. That was my first lesson about the internet. Can you believe that?
ICQ?
Was that
ICQ? Do you remember ICQ at the chat forum?
I don't even know if it was for anyone in particular. I think that was kind of a general blanket. I never got into the chat stuff too much. I went right away, and then I trained another guy who was one of the first people who could write HTML code in Southern California. And so, I mean, he would charge, this is in 1992, 93, he would charge me $75 an hour back then to write half a page of HTML raw code. There's no WYSIWYG, and there was no WordPress, and there's like, again, to get perspective to how far this has all come, when I started my business on the internet, there was no Google, there's no Yahoo, there's no YouTube, there's no social media. Yeah. The search engines we used were Dogpile, Alta Vista, and Hotbot. Do you remember those?
Absolutely remember those. Absolutely do.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy.
Ask Jeeves.
Yeah. Ask Jeeves, which later just became ask.com.
Right,
Yes,
right.
That's correct.
Yeah, and I remember and that's exactly how we start. Those are the exact sites which were not non-existent in Asia, and that's how about 22 years back I discovered these sites. We listed my dad's hotel business, and that's how it took off, because we eventually apparently became the number one or the only hotel in India to ever go online. So the business took off automatically. So you spoke about your rituals, you spoke about your upbringing, you spoke about how early on you started, and the fact that how easy it is for entrepreneurs, today's young entrepreneurs, to get access to the knowledge that they need to be successful. And at that time, you actually had to maybe go to a video parlor and get check in and check out those books and all of that. Having said that, what I've seen over the years and the books that we read and all of that is that the books and the knowledge is available to everyone. It's showered upon everyone. There is but only 2% people are actually doing something with it. Some people need constant motivation and all of that.
Yeah.
So when you speak, I see you do a lot of events, and I see you consult with people, you coach them, you motivate them, you mentor them. So do you have a particular over the years, have you developed a pattern to say, what, I will work with these kind of people, and maybe somebody else for later?
I want to say this very carefully so it's understood. I won't work with ask holes, A-S-K, holes, which means a person who will ask for advice but never follows the direction, but then blames you for their lack of success.
Right.
So make sure I enunciated that properly. It's very frustrating when people say, "Oh, this isn't working,"
right?
But they haven't done the work. I just did a post on Facebook this morning, and I'm going to try to remember what it was, because it was worded carefully. But it says, "Do not fail because of lack of effort. Effort requires no skill."
Right. Nice.
And it's really that simple. I mean, sometimes people don't have access to the right information, but the reality is that there's people in very poor parts of the world, in sub-Saharan Africa, who haven't been given access to anything, that are now given a smartphone, that are learning how to make a windmill which pumps a well to give water to their village. And they watched a YouTube video and figured out how to do it. So you can't say you don't know, or you can't find out, or there's not the access, or it's basically, if you have time to watch a funny video on YouTube for entertainment, which is fine, you also have the time, the ability, and the resources to learn from a video to teach you what you need to know so you can become successful as you want to be. It's that simple.
So the thing is, so how much time, over the years, I'm 41 as well. I've realized that, the one thing that I've realized as time goes by, I used to have time for everyone. Now I'm limited with my time. And I used to find it being disrespectful to say no. But as I feel I've got limited time growing up, I want to ration my time to be able to have maximum impact for my time and also for the people that I'm working with. So how do you choose the people who come into your circle? Because I see you're mentoring a lot of people. You had great events at your beautiful place we saw on Facebook. So how do you plan the kind of people who should come into your life and take your time?
Great question. Before, when I was younger, I would seek out anyone to help, and I still want to help everyone I can, but time is the only resource in life we don't get back or can't make more of. It's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but it's true.
Right.
So I want to spend my time with the people that appreciate my time and input the most, people who are willing to put in an equal amount of effort, and also people who share similar values and are good people overall, not just wealthy, not just well-connected, not just whatever. What can they do for you?
Sure.
But are they just good people? And on the application process for many of my events, near the bottom, before you have the opportunity to apply, it says who cannot apply.
Uh-huh.
The kind of people I do not allow.
Right.
And And it's basically a long list of, things that are just they're not nice, good, loving, philanthropic, caring people that want to add value to other people. They want to extract. I don't have time, and I don't want to work with those people. I'll tell you a quick story. It's funny is someone chastised me, ridiculed me for having that process and making that list. And saying that I wasn't fair, I wasn't nice, I was rude, whatever it was. Right. And I said, well, two things. One, thank you for your honesty about how you feel about this. And secondly, no need to apply. You have pre-disqualified yourself. Because if they can't understand why that process will be in place, then they're not the right fit.
Absolutely.
Because what happens is, I'm not sure if they have the same saying in India, but in the States we say, it only takes one bad apple to spoil the bunch. Absolutely. Okay. So, and what happens is that person becomes an energy vampire, a battery drainer.
Right.
And then the whole group comes down in energy and volume and velocity.
I agree with that.
And it's terrible. It's like a virus. And I feel sorry for those people because they've probably been denied things throughout their life because of that behavior.
So true.
And then they think the world is against them, but it's actually the reality they've created, which is now excluding them from opportunity. So one of the most important things that, again, to the younger people, it's for everybody, but for the younger people, is when they see someone they admire or they see someone that they want to learn from, sometimes they say, can I pick your brain?
Right.
I'm going to suggest an alternative, and here's why. When you say, can I pick your brain, think about the action of the person you're saying that to. You're pulling something from inside their head. That's the vision. It's an extraction. It's unilateral. There's no reciprocity. You're not saying I value you. You're not saying how can I serve you. You're not saying what can I do for you. What you're saying is I'm not going to pay for your services. I don't value the decades of work that you've put in, but I want to extract your knowledge and not give you any monetary consideration or anything of value in any way in return.
Right.
That is the wrong way to do it. That is the fastest way to have a thought leader or a leader in your industry or captain of industry or whoever you want to learn from run the other direction and never help you.
Right.
Instead, very simple, you can say something simple such as, I appreciate all you've done for the industry. If there's ever anything I can do for you, please let me know. If you have just a second, I would love to ask you one question because I know that you will have the answer that can help me.
I love it.
It's so simple. It's so simple. And then they're going to go, oh, okay, yeah, I got a second. That's cool. It's so easy, right? Instead of saying, can I pick your brain? Or someone, like someone says, hey, let's grab a cup of coffee. That you don't, not if it's a buddy, it's a friend, it's a long-term acquaintance. That's different. Hey, let's grab coffee and catch up. Or tea or whatever you're going to do, lunch. But when someone you don't know says, let me take you to coffee because I have several questions to ask you. What they're saying is, I'm not willing to pay your hourly consulting fee, but a cup of coffee, even at Starbucks, is only $5.
Right.
And so I can get a lot of advice for $5. And someone did that, and they were rude. And I said, that's great. My coffee is $1,000 an hour.
Sure. So, and this is so valuable. The way you put it, we're going to caption it here. And maybe
okay.
Put a Facebook post on this when we upload this video on online, because this is, I think,
sure.
It's respectful, it's to the point, and because you've got that one chance or that one shot of making an acquaintance, an eventual friend or a mentor, and you lose that by going their route. And I think this is something which will help people a lot. So this very line we're going to show on the show again and again. I love it.
It's so simple. It's so simple. But it's about building your network. But there's a great distinction here. That there's two parts to this. Your net worth, your money, your net worth is proportional to your network.
Sure.
But to have a network, the network, it has reciprocity. Uh-huh. However, the second part of that is your net worth shouldn't be correlated to your self-worth.
Mm-hmm.
So it's two parts.
Right.
Your network is proportional to or will create your net worth. But once you've created your net worth, whether it's small or large or any point in between, there shouldn't be any direct correlation with your self-worth, how you feel about yourself. You should just be striving for more, because that's the game of life, but also give back and reciprocate and don't pick brains.
Right. And so, unfortunately, this is very valuable advice for youngsters, because sometimes by the time they get it, they've already crossed their 30s or whatever, lost a lot of time, so tell me, what is your take on the kind of people? So, are you married? You have a partner, family?
I'm married to a wonderful lady. I am the stepfather to two very smart and pretty girls, actually women now, 21 and 22 years old.
Wow.
One of them just graduated from TCU University in Texas, and she's working for a SaaS startup in Barcelona. She's moving next month. The other one does interior design and graphic design and helps my wife. My wife is an incredible lady. I really scored with this one. She's exceptionally well educated. She comes from a great family. She's very pretty. And she is a celebrity interior designer and artist. Wow. And in fact, like right now, I'm in Las Vegas at our home on the Las Vegas Strip. The Strip's that way, about 500 feet. And then she had to go back home to our home in California because she's filming her new TV show up in Hollywood. And they did the first day of shooting yesterday, and then she's driving back today, and then she has her art. Yeah. She's done about 10 TV shows and about 120 episodes of television, quite a bit over on HGTV, TLC, Bravo, NBC, the Design Network, all sorts of stuff. She's done many, many different shows. And then right down the road, I'm pointing north here, is the World Center for Design and Home Interiors, and her world debut of her new art collection comes out. And then see that shiny tile in the background?
I do.
She designed that. So that's part of her tile collection as well. And so all the tile actually in our home here, she designed, and she has a 30, 40 pieces of art. She has a rug line actually through Jaipur. So she's done so well, and she speaks. She has a best-selling book. She is a blogger. She is an influencer. She's actually going to Paris later this year to an event called Maison, which it's where the trends are spotted and created and then disseminated to the world for art and design for the next year. And then she also has to go to China this year because she has a new furniture line with a company called Sunpan, which is out of Toronto. And then she also has an outdoor patio furniture company too that she's working with. So she's, like I said, she does really well. She's very smart. But here's another important. You asked about the family. So that's the family. There's the four of us. The girls are great. Actually, the other girl is in Colombia right now on holiday. But what's interesting about my wife's business, this is a very good lesson. So she developed her brand. You've seen the pictures of my wife. She has a very unique look.
Right.
Very, very pretty lady, but she has a very striking look. Here's what happened. She's been doing television, writing books, speaking, doing design work for 12, 13, 14 years. And she's always been an attractive lady. She had long hair, but she has been having graying hair since high school. She's just one of those people that her hair was going gray since high school, And so she colored her hair because at 18, 19 years old, you don't want to have gray hair.
Right.
And what happened is now she just turned 47 this last week. And actually, yesterday was our 7th wedding anniversary. So they're
congratulations.
Right next to each other. Thank you. It's going well. So she started getting allergies to the hair color that the ladies use to color their hair. And she says, you know what? It's like toxicity. It's toxic. I can't do this anymore. And I just wanted to I'm going to cut my hair. I'm going to let it go gray. And she was concerned I wouldn't think anything of it. Or I would think something of it. I wouldn't like it.
Sure.
And I said, you know what? I support you. Your health's more important. Just do it. And so she let her hair grow gray, and she shaved her head, and she now kind of has a mohawk,
right.
you know? And if people want to come to my Facebook page, you'll see a bunch of pictures of her. And then she wears, you know, the cool glasses and stuff. Here's the message. Yes, she looks cool. Yes, she looks unique. Before, people would say, she's a talented, pretty lady. That's great. Now, they can't forget her.
Right.
They always remember her. She always stands out in the crowd. Always in a crowd, no matter what happens, she stands out because of the way she looks.
Right.
And then she dresses cool. You know, she dresses, you know, kind of funky and very chic and a little bit rock and roll sometimes. And it works very, very well. And so what's happened as soon as this is a branding lesson. I'm getting to the lesson here, you guys.
Sure. I'm with you.
Okay. Her business tripled when she shaved her head.
My God. And
because she had been chasing all these opportunities, and then she came out looking like a rock star. And then everyone says, I'm going to work with you. I'm going to work with you. Will you speak here? Will you do this? Will you sign this? Will you do this show? Will you get? And she got licensing deals for all the different stuff. Literally in a week, she got 3 international product licensing deals.
Wow.
And it was because she became unforgettable.
Also because also because she had the courage to be herself and saying, you know what, I want to do what I want to do.
Yes. Very good point. She decided.
Awesome.
She decided not to feel compelled to fit in.
Exactly.
She realized that she would do better by standing out, you know, and so, excuse me. So when she did stand out, and when she decided to, and she owned that, her business and her brand exploded. But what she's done is she's done that a lot through social media. She has about 50,000 Instagram followers. She has a good following on Facebook, but a lot of it is through television and all those different things too. And, and a lot of the events that she goes to, these huge events that have tens of thousands of people, they actually have her on the side of buildings, you know, banners with her face on the side of the it's crazy. But it's because she stands out. So again, the question is, what are you doing to stand out? What makes you, the entrepreneur, memorable? So let's just think about a couple of people that probably are familiar, like Gary Vee. Everyone knows. Actually, Kelly just spoke with Gary Vee on stage in Los Angeles about a month ago.
Oh, that's
it's a big opportunity. Yeah, it's a huge opportunity. It was great. And I ended up carrying everything and taking pictures of her with people for 3 hours, and we didn't even eat lunch because it was so insane. But so why do people remember Gary? What makes him stand out? One is he cusses a lot, which he probably doesn't have to do as much as he does. I don't necessarily that's not necessarily a good thing, but he stands in his truth and he's honest, right? Yeah. He doesn't care if people like it. That's what he feels, so he says it.
Right.
But he's bold enough to do and say the things that people often think and need to hear, but don't have the ability to express it or the
guts to say it.
Or the guts to stand there and say those crazy things he says. But then when you hear it, you're like, well, gosh, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and somebody
it's his boldness and his brashness that works really well. Another thing, people either love or hate Tai Lopez.
Right.
They either love or hate him, right? I actually was able to speak on stage with him last year. It was funny because I went on stage right before he did, and he's up in his room in the hotel, like doing Snapchat or whatever. And I was doing impersonations of him on stage, and he came down and said exactly what I was impersonating him at, and he didn't know it because he was upstairs. Very, very funny. So that's just a side note, but it was hysterical. Like, he has his things that he always says. Yes, I live with the Amish. I don't be a cynic. You have to have knowledge. All these different things that he says.
Right.
So what makes him stand out? What is it about that brand that makes him stand out? He is relentless in his pursuit of what he's doing. He's omnipresent.
Yep.
But let me share something I've learned, because I have a buddy of mine that has a business deal with Tai. And a lot of people go, oh, it's all fake and it's blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you the truth.
Cole Hatter?
Yes, Cole. Yeah, you know what Cole told me? You guys talked.
Yes, we did.
He loves you. Okay, great. Okay, cool. Yeah, Cole's awesome. He's one of my good buddies. So Cole and Ty have a venture together in real estate,
right?
And it's done very, very well. And I'm not going to go into the specifics of any of this because it's no one's business. But here's the overarching thing about what Ty does, and it's brilliant. He really does make a lot of money. He really does own those cars. He does own multiple homes. All that's real. But what he's done is created a personification, and he's made his life a microcosm on online. He has more views of what he does online than the Kardashians do of their TV show.
Unbelievable.
When he does a live broadcast. But what people don't, here's what he's done. He's created a reality show about his life online only, but gets more views than some of the top rated reality shows in the world.
Right.
And he's in total control. So that's why they call it the Ty Lopez show. It's a show. But he really is wealthy. He really is very smart. He actually is a nice guy, because I've been in those circles when the cameras are off and everyone's just eating dinner and hanging out. But he has fine-tuned everything. But it looks like, hey, I'm here on my basketball court. We're going to choose a winner for the new car or whatever. What you don't see is that there's many people behind the scenes producing this show.
Right. Right. So
it's brilliant.
It's strategically worked out.
It's brilliant. Like, people love him or hate him. They think, oh, it's gratuitous because you have the cars and the girls with the skimpy clothing or whatever.
Right.
You don't have to like it, but accept it for the brilliance that it is, that he knows his target market.
100%.
It's young, single guys, 16 to 30 years old, who want to live his lifestyle, and they think they can if they buy his stuff. It's brilliant.
Yeah, so he's
brilliant.
He's so understanding, there's I think every spiritual scripture in the world has said, to understand the world you must first understand yourself, and then the whole world will appear to you. And the less you understand yourself, the more distorted you are about your world vision. So if somebody's as a good marketer, or as somebody who's got a show as successful as his, I think we can pretty safely say that he's quite a self-aware human being.
He's very self-aware. And I think that's, people call it self-actualization, the different levels of transcendence of understanding or awareness or personal evolution, whatever you want to call it. There's different ways of terming it. But I feel now at my age, 48, and I've done a lot. And I've lived, sometimes I look back and I feel like I've lived 8 different lives of the different phases of things I've gone through. I feel like I'm just barely now, truthfully, starting to figure it out. After all the things I've done. Yeah?
I know the feeling. You know what? I'm very close to my mother. She's almost 70 years old. She's a very hardworking entrepreneur, and she runs her own hotel business. And she always says, I think I'm just getting started. And she said her favorite quote ever is that youth is wasted on the young, and it's only as you grow older you realize your true self, and then you want to make it happen. So I
think there's a saying, and I don't remember exactly how it goes, but I'm paraphrasing. But as a teenager, you think everyone's talking about you. And then in your 20s and 30s, you hope everyone is talking about you. And then as you get older, your 50s and 60s or 70s, you don't care if they're talking about you.
Right.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. I know what you're saying. I think in the 40s, it's like you realize that nobody's else talking about you. And
yes.
Yeah. Amazing. So
very funny. Unless you're on social media.
Yeah, I've got two questions for you. One is,
okay.
So a lot of youngsters are shying away from, because they don't want to maybe face reality, or so they're just shying away from being with their parents or their family or loved ones, and they're more in isolation. So they're going for good books, they're going for mentors, but they're shying away from people who really know them well. And then you just talk about the importance of family. So how much does having yourself surrounded with people who really care about you, even if they're showing you the mirror and sometimes you don't see the mirror.
Yeah. That I heard. Okay. Great question. And once again, this is like one of those revelations I've recently had. I think what's important about family is they will tell you the things that you need to hear when other people don't want to say it to you because they don't want to offend you, or they think it will hurt your feelings, or they think it's misplaced, or they don't have the authority or influence to say that, which is often true.
Yep.
But I can always count on my brother. I have a twin brother, and my mom and my dad. Yeah.
Is he also as well built?
He's in good. Yeah, he's a firefighter.
Okay, so he's
paramedic. Yeah, no, he's in good shape. He's very strong. Very funny too. Very super funny. They will tell me things that I need to know to check myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
sure.
Because people say, oh, I feel I'm very different from the rest of my family because I'm a different kind of risk taker. I have different training, different education, different circle of friends. I've traveled much more. I've done a lot of different things that they have not done.
Right.
So I perceive things differently than they do. I think that is accurate, that I do perceive things fundamentally different than the rest of my family.
Right.
But there's certain things that I need to be brought back to understand their perspective as well, which often has a lot of very good points that I would otherwise overlook.
And so the patience to understand what you just said comes sometimes later in life, and you miss out on all that value that you can get from your immediate circle, right?
Well, it's kind of like if you're a parent of older kids, you know this to be true. Or if you're in your 20s, you probably understand this for yourself. And that is, there's that period of time when you're 15 to 19 where you think your parents are complete idiots. You just do. And that's a normal neurological development process. It's normal. It's not optimal, but it's normal. And it's your way of saying, I'm ready for the world. And if you never feel like you have the answers, you'll never go out and get it.
Right.
So it's part of a process.
Sure.
But also what happened is when I was going through that personally, it was also the time my grandmother was dying. And so I wasn't there mentally when my grandmother was dying, because I was doing those things and going to try to conquer and do stuff. And I look back and I'm super disappointed in myself for doing that. But then, I talked to some friends who are counselors, psychologists, therapists. I said, hey, is this normal? What's an appropriate feeling for this? And they said, it's normal.
Right.
And you need to make peace with it, but perhaps it's not optimal.
Right.
And you have to accept it because it's already passed,
right.
When she passed away many years ago now. So I think if you're at that point where you're just starting to realize your parents have a lot of merit, then, and there are times when there are some bad parents, I understand. And that, but I'm guessing that is a very small minority of the time that happens, very slim. So if your parents are good and you have been alienated because you're out trying to do your conquering and things like that, circle back around and ask what they're doing before you share with what you're doing. And I'm telling you this because this is something I'm learning to do.
Of course. Because
I do a lot of weird, interesting things that people are always asking me what I'm doing. And sometimes I don't want to share it, but sometimes I do. But oftentimes that's the first thing that happens when you're an entrepreneur and you're traveling and you're meeting interesting people and doing conventions, and they see you on Facebook and doing videos like this. They go, man, what are you doing? All this stuff's great. Pause, ask them how their day is and what they're doing first, how you can be of help to them. I'm talking about your family and close friends, and then let it come back to you.
I like that.
And it will change everything in a good way.
Perfect. Love it. So, John, I'm loving this because, the best part about what this is I've got some of my questions here, but I'm not even referring to them because I'm thankful to you that you're just opening your heart out, and it's just a heartfelt.
Yeah.
that we're having about your family, your kids, your grandmother, how you've grown up, and your beautiful dogs. So I'm just loving the way this is going. But so I have one last question, before we let you go.
Okay.
What are the plans for the next 1 or 2 years? People who are watching this show, are you coming up with a? Are you coming up with a course? How can they reach you? What is the best value that so they know how to get in touch with you now because you already gave us the script. But once they do get in touch with you, what from your experience of so many years, and I see that you're a lot of heart as well. So and I'm loving that. So plus also the discipline. Somebody will look at you and within 5 seconds know that this guy has got some discipline in his life. And after watching an interview like this, they know that he's got heart as well. So after watching this interview, people who want to change their life when they get in touch with you, is there a website they can go to? Or
I'm going to answer this in a couple different parts.
Sure.
One is I appreciate you notice the distinction between the discipline and the heart. The discipline's always been there. The heart is developing now, and it's a process. And so, it's weird that you have to have certain life events happen for you to come to that point.
Right.
But that's also part of the authenticity that people like and connect with. And when here's what happened is when I was in my 20s through late 30s, I was on the cover of magazines. I was nominated for a bunch of different stuff, and I was on TV shows and reality shows and all this stuff. And I started believing my own hype. And I thought I had to be a certain way or project myself a certain way because that's what people thought I was from these different shows and things like that.
Right.
I was wrong. But that was this was literally before the advent of trying to be transparent on the internet and understanding that. It was more of a facade or a persona. It was foolish, but that's the way it was. So that's two parts. So thank you for acknowledging that the heart is separate from the persistence or the drive, but now they form together and it's much better. Next, what is next for us is that now that we're moved into our new place that Kelly designed here, and at some point I'll do a tour for you. It's just incredible. So we're settling in here. We're doing lots of events here in Las Vegas, coaching, masterminds, mentorship, and a lot of live broadcasts and things like that as well. So that's coming up. I'm doing more entrepreneurial coaching and development for people all over the world. My other businesses are in martial arts, personal development, and fitness. And ironically, search engine optimization. What a crazy mix of things! But those are my primary buckets of skill set. And but I'm going to probably travel more again too. I lived in Barcelona for a while a few years ago. We loved it. I spent some time in Italy, but we want to travel a lot more. What's that?
I said we got to put a tour together for India now.
Let's do it. No, I want to go. I absolutely want to go to India. I love the Indian people. I love them. They're so sweet and so kind, and my family loves Indian food too. It's like our favorite. So it's great.
Perfect.
We're all over it. It's going to be fantastic. And as far as for people contacting me, the easiest way is to go to my blog, which is my name, johnspencerellis.com. And if you want to follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/John Spencer Ellis. There you go.
Excellent. John, once again, the only thing that I'm not liking about today's interview is that I have to cut it short. I just got reeled in. Like I said, everything that I wanted to talk to you about was so inconsequential when you just took over and told me about your family. And, a lot of people, sometimes you want to hold back, but, thank you for not holding back. We learned about the lovely girls. I have two girls myself, and my wife is an entrepreneur herself. She's an immigration attorney and flying all over the world. And grandmother, so Europe, I don't know. You just hit the right chord. and it's
good.
So much time flew by, and I loved it. So, John, thank you very much for your time. Please, you have to promise me that you will give my regards to your lovely wife and your daughters. And
I will. Thank you.
And a special hug to your dogs.
Lily and Lucy, the puppies. Yes.
Lily and Lucy.
Thank you. I
got
appreciate
six
it.
myself, so I love dogs. We have them all the time. All right, John. We will stay in touch. And,
Thank you, sir.
I'll let you know when the show is coming out. Once again, thank you very much for being on the Ask Arya show. Cheers.
All right. Thank you. Bye, guys.